Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 2, Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 59, 86 Coffin Sea Guanhai Pavilion. 59th of Volume 2. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. After descending the stone bridge, the two followed a stone staircase for several hundred steps, emerging into a dim and cavernous underground warehouse. Though the light was dim, they could still see mountains of iron chests and otherworldly coffins piled high, so numerous that it would take 10 days and nights to count them all. A frail figure materialized silently behind Li Wei, holding a lamp and croaking, "Little or she see, is this the new recruit for this year?" Li Wei quickly sidestepped, turning to face the figure behind him, his heart pounding. How could appear without a sound or a trace of energy? Is he human or a ghost? The figure was incredibly aged, hunched over with sparse hair. In the darkness of the underground warehouse, he resembled a ghost from the underworld. What he held wasn't a lamp, but a ball of flame clutched in his hand. He's not Yin or Shi Lu, but he was personally chosen by the Yin Jun for a special trial, Yin or Shi Si said respectfully, bowing to the elder. Turning to Li Wei, she explained, this is the Hidden Sect's 45th Supreme Elder, who guards the entrance from Julie City to the Julie Hidden Sect. Within the Hidden Sect, hidden ones from the previous 60-year cycle were known as elders. Supreme Elders, however, were hidden ones from the cycle before that. In other words, the 45th Supreme Elder before them was originally 45th Hidden One, Yin Sishi Wu, from the cycle before the last, a venerable old man well over 100 years old. His cultivation level, given his duty of guarding such a crucial location, was beyond imagination. Li Wei immediately clasped his hands in a respectful bow. The 45th Supreme Elder raised the flame in his hand, leaned closer, squinted, and carefully examined Li Wei. He chuckled, indeed, quite interesting. You two should change first. He shuffled away with a hunched back and unsteady gait. The surroundings grew dim. Yin or Shi Si tossed a set of purple-black robes to Li Wei, then unfastened her belt and began to undress. Of course, she was still wearing her inner garments, only changing her outer robe. Li Wei caught the purple-black martial robe and examined it closely. Seeing the silver coffin seal embroidered on the sleeve, he was moved. This is the standard martial robe for disciples of the Coffin Sea Pavilion. Yin or Shi Si replied, that's right. This is the third level of the Coffin Sea Pavilion's underground treasure vault, a forbidden area only the pavilion master is allowed to enter. What we're wearing are the standard martial robes for disciples of the Foreign Affairs Hall. So we're directly beneath the core Dao domain of Julie City. Li Wei confirmed again, still somewhat incredulous. Yin or Shi Si said, the Julie Insect Valley itself lies deep beneath Julie City, directly beneath the Dao domain. Otherwise, why do you think the Hidden Sect's spiritual qi is so dense, so conducive to cultivation, and so fertile for precious medicine? Of course, ancient formations act as layers of barriers, preventing anyone from breaking through. The greatest concealment lies in the city, truly remarkable. I should have realized it sooner. Li Wei forced a wry smile and muttered to himself, if the Julie Insect Valley is completely enveloped in spiritual qi, forming a Dao domain, then there must be an exceptionally large heavenly law earth spring nearby. With such a massive heavenly law earth spring, where else could one hide without being discovered but Julie City? After changing into the martial robes of the Coffin Sea Pavilion's Foreign Affairs Hall disciples, the two of them cast the disguise a technique to alter their appearances and figures. Meanwhile, they had two prepared bundles ready. When opened, the bundles revealed low-grade spiritual artifact level night traveling cloaks. When activated, these cloaks provided a degree of defense and invisibility, making them ideal for covert missions. There was also a bottle of powder. According to Yin or Shi Si, this powder could temporarily neutralize a tracker's sense of smell. Your yellow dragon sword will reveal your identity as the perpetrator. Do you need to carry another spiritual artifact? Yin or Shi Si asked. Of course, Li Wei replied. Given our current rank, we can only request one low-grade spiritual artifact, which must be returned after the mission. If lost, you'll have to pay compensation, Yin or Shi Si explained. It's not a free gift. Do you truly believe the Hidden Sect's resources are limitless? Li Wei waved his hand dismissively, forget it. I think it's more fitting for me to avenge my grievances with the Changlin gang as Li Wei. No one would suspect the Hidden Sect, and it would make more sense. The real question is, how strong are Shu Changlin and Tang Yan? I have no idea about their strength or the power of the Five Seas realm. If those in the Five Seas realm could lift the Five Seas pillars with their bare hands, and their spiritual power refinement surpassed the surging spring realm, with abundant spiritual qi in their qi seas, Li Wei thought it might be best to return home now and smash the Hidden Sect with Master Coffin's letter. Yin or Shi Si scoffed, both of them are Seven Springs opening Five Seas realm cultivators, and they've only opened their first qi si. Even with my strength, having broken through to the Five Seas realm just 2 months ago, I could handle them with one hand. I've only opened the 8th spring, Li Wei said. Yin or Shi's arrogant demeanor vanished instantly. She said coldly, don't worry. They're just two weaklings ruined by wine and women. With me backing you up, you can fight without restraint. Li Wei wouldn't dare entrust his life to Yin or Shi. He secretly considered which trump cards he could reveal and then brought them with him. After all, when he fought Yang Shenjing, he had only used the yellow dragon sword. This wasn't his true combat strength. What's in these iron chests? Li Wei asked curiously, eager to open them but deterred by the formation scriptures. This isn't just the Coffin Sea Pavilion's most important treasure vault, Yin or Shi explained, it's also the Coffin Sea Merchant Guild's storage warehouse for its rarest goods. The auction house's headlining items are almost always kept here. Additionally, many of the hidden sect's resources and treasures are stored here. The Coffin Sea Pavilion was a sect established by the Coffin Sea Merchant Guild. 14 years ago, the Zhuli tribe suffered a crushing defeat. 4 sections of the Zhuli city Dao domain were seized, and 4 major sects were established: the Sui sect, the Sanchen Palace, the Tianyi sect, and the Coffin Sea Guanhai Pavilion. In present Li Prefecture, the Zhuli Dao Academy and the Sui sect are the two of the dominant powers, with the Sanchen Palace close behind. The Tianyi sect and the Coffin Sea Pavilion, founded only 14 years ago, lagged far behind in strength and foundation. Li Wei asked, what exactly is the relationship between the Coffin Sea Pavilion and the Zhuli hidden sect? Yin or Shi replied, in truth, the Sui sect, the Sanchen Palace, the Tianyi sect, and the Coffin Sea Pavilion were originally servants and retainers sent out by the Zhuli tribe to sell otherworldly coffins. The Sui sect's founding ancestors were responsible for water transport, using the Shui River to carry otherworldly coffins to the various provinces of the Lingxiao realm. The Sanchen Palace ancestor was responsible for land transport across the 3 main routes: the Northern Strait Road, the Western Prefecture Road, and the Eastern Forest Road, delivering goods to the Northern Territory, Western Territory, and Eastern Territory. The Tianyi sect and Coffin Sea Pavilion ancestors handled sales, forming what are now the Tianyi Merchant Guild and the Coffin Sea Merchant Guild. Backed by the Zhuli tribe, one of the ancient clans with millions of members, every major power in the Lingxiao realm naturally had to show them respect. Under the banner of the Zhuli tribe, their influence gradually grew. They established gangs, recruited martial mystic cultivators, trained death squads, and expanded aggressively. With transport routes secured, ambition took root. Their business naturally expanded beyond otherworldly coffins. They dealt in salt, iron, minerals, cloth, brothels, gambling dens, restaurants, and human trafficking. After 1,000 years of operation, they gradually amassed wealth, leeching off the Zhuli tribe like parasites, using their name to intimidate others. The sapling grew into a towering tree, spawning several million member clans. The Zhuli tribe, having lost their most powerful spiritual artifact and unable to agree on a universally respected leader, lay dreaming on the natural treasure trove of otherworldly coffins. Consumed by greed for more coffins, wealth, and power, the 9 clans descended into constant infighting. The Dao Academy and Divine Temple, which should have been maintaining order, became the epicenters of this internal conflict, losing their ability to govern. Against this backdrop, the 9 clans instead courted and cultivated their servants and slaves, pouring vast resources into them, believing they would serve as their enforcers against other clans. They remained completely blind to their servants' wolfish ambitions. These servants and slaves, under the leadership of 9 tribes, gradually grew in power and influence, reveling in their success. 14 years ago, these servants and slaves saw through the Zhuli tribe's weakness and cast off their pretense. This led directly to the 6-month-long martial conflict in the Battle of Mount Mangshan. Only after suffering such humiliation did the Zhuli tribe's high-ranking officials finally wake up and realize that they were no longer the mighty ancient clan of millions of people. The 9 clan leaders then sat down to negotiate in peace, ending their internal strife. It seemed that all their conflicts could be resolved through compromise. But could 14 years of effort truly undo centuries of decline? Li Wei sneered, it's the same everywhere. Without an external threat and with abundant internal resources, endless infighting is inevitable. Only when faced with an external enemy can they unite. But why didn't the hidden sect intervene? Why did they allow their former servants and slaves to betray their masters and even seize control of the Dao domain? How can they learn shame and strive for improvement if they aren't humiliated? Knowing someone has their back will only make them more reckless, decadent, and arrogant. Besides, Yin or Shi glanced at the treasure vault before her and continued, who said the hidden sect hasn't intervened? Li Wei asked, have the hidden sect long controlled the upper echelons of the Coffin Sea Pavilion? Or perhaps there are hidden sect members within the Sui sect, Sanchen Palace, and Tianyi sect. I'm just a hidden one who arrived 2 years before you. How would I know such secrets? Yin or Shi didn't want to elaborate further. The 45th Supreme Elder materialized ghost-like behind Li Wei, his voice raspy as he said, all hidden ones sent on missions outside the sect must be branded with the death spirit fire. Yin or Shi clearly knew the rule. She closed her eyes and calmly accepted the flame that spilled from the 45th Supreme Elder's fingertip, which entered her brow. Li Wei, remembering Li Qing's gruesome death, was horrified and naturally resisted. Yin or Shi explained, the death spirit fire only erupts if you're captured and a mind master attempts to invade your consciousness. In that situation, do you really think they'd spare your life? Don't worry, the death spirit fire will be extracted once the mission is complete. Li Wei asked, then. If I voluntarily reveal the secrets I know, will the death spirit fire erupt? No. Yin or Shi immediately added, but you will be hunted by the entire hidden sect. And all who know the truth will be eliminated. Of course, if you are captured and don't want to suffer the torment of mental power intrusion, you can trigger the death spirit fire yourself. There's no other way. The hidden sect must ensure its own safety. Li Wei couldn't find a reason to argue, so he nodded. After planting the death spirit fire, Li Wei and Yin or Shi followed the stone steps upward, passing through 3 levels of the treasure vault before finally reaching the surface. Disguised as disciples of the Coffin Sea Pavilion's Foreign Affairs Hall, they helped transport goods from the first-level warehouse. They joined the Tianyi Merchant Guild's caravan as it left the Dao domain and entered the bustling streets of Zhuli City. The clamor of the city washed over them. During the journey, they quietly slipped off the carriage and merged into the ceaseless flow of people. The sun was scorching. But finally feeling the warmth of the sun again and seeing the blue sky and white clouds, Li Wei felt an indescribable sense of liberation. After 2 months of medicinal cuisine, I've been craving real food. Come on, let's go eat a proper meal. My treat. Yin or Shi was surprised. She hadn't expected this guy to be so generous. After months of bland medicinal cuisine, she was naturally looking forward to a proper meal. But when Li Wei led her to the dining spot, she froze. She carefully examined the humble noodle stall by the roadside, searching for something extraordinary. Perhaps her eyes were simply failing her. It wasn't impossible that the pot held hidden depths, and the owner would spiritually conjure a feast of colorful, fragrant, and delicious human delicacies at any moment. Li Wei had already taken a seat and called out, "Owner, 2 bowls of soup noodles, extra meat." "Come on, sit down, don't just stand there stiffly." Yin or Shi's expression darkened. "If it's just 2 bowls of soup noodles, you could have spared me the anticipation." "How could it be just 2 bowls of soup noodles?" Li Wei countered. "And meat, right?" Yin or Shi said, "This joke isn't funny." Li Wei took out the 3-headed serpent bracelet and placed it on the table. "This is the real treat." Yin or Shi, having seen the world, immediately recognized the bracelet's extraordinary quality. She quickly picked it up, meticulously examining every detail, her eyes growing increasingly fervent. She whispered, "This is a blood refinement artifact. It should contain a powerful blood soul sealed within. Judging by the craftsmanship, it's no ordinary low-grade spiritual artifact. Sharp eyes, worthy of someone in the 5 Seas realm." Li Wei dropped a bombshell. "This is a high-grade spiritual artifact." Even with Yin or Shi's composure, her hands trembled, and the bracelet nearly slipped from her grasp. A high-grade spiritual artifact was a treasure only the most elite figures in the 5 Seas realm were worthy of possessing. Moreover, this high-grade spiritual artifact contained a sealed blood soul within. Li Wei seemed oblivious to her shock, his gaze fixed on the pot where the ingredients had begun to simmer. He murmured, "Help me sell it. Your hidden sect controls the Coffin Sea Pavilion, so sell it secretly through the Coffin Sea Merchant Guild. Then buy me some light radiant flame pills. I need to break through my psychic telekinesis or mental power and ignite the Fangkun square-inch bright flame as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would take decades to forge the golden vein. I can't wait that long." Yin or Shi couldn't bear it any longer. She wanted to curse him. "Are you insane? The blood soul sealed inside that high-grade spiritual artifact is at least at the 3rd stage of the 5 Seas realm. You're selling it just to buy radiant flame pills. Fine, sell it to me." Seeing Li Wei's wide-eyed, surprised gaze, she quickly retracted the 3-headed serpent bracelet. Then, Li Wei asked a question that struck her soul, "Can you afford it?" Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Zhuli Insect Valley. Chapter 60-87 The Eunuch Delivering Goods. 60th of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Yin or Shi said, "The true value of this high-grade blood refinement spiritual artifact lies in the strength of its internal blood soul. If the blood soul's combat power is only at the 3rd stage of the 5 Seas realm, its price would be no more than 10,000 Yongquan coins. Do you even have 10,000 Yongquan coins?" Li Wei sized her up, disbelieving that a hidden one who had only recently broken through to the 5 Seas realm could be so wealthy. 10,000 Yongquan coins was equivalent to 1 million silver coins or 100 million copper coins. She was only 16 years old. How could she possibly have such a fortune? Yin or Shi's expression turned slightly awkward. Hesitantly, she said, "Of course, I don't have that much money right now. But aren't we going to the spider cave to gather precious medicine? Those are quite valuable. I won't take a single pound of it. That's still nowhere near enough. Li Wei waved his hand, stop messing around. I really need the money, and I desperately need radiant flame pills. Radiant flame pills were condensed from high-quality spiritual light flames and could only be refined by spiritual mind masters. They were treasures that helped mind masters rapidly improve their cultivation. Every single pill was a rare and precious item. The successful creation of a pill was akin to an extraordinary transformation in the realm of medicine. The noodles are ready. 2 steaming bowls of noodle soup were served. Sell it. Absolutely not. Yin Shici suspected Li Wei didn't fully grasp the value of the battle treasure. Blood-refined artifacts typically originate from the nether realm of the dead, the demon race, or the demon kingdom. Such a treasure should never have fallen into the hands of someone at the Spring Surge realm. Where did you obtain it? The 3-headed serpent bracelet naturally came from the bronze ship. Li Wei was selling it because it required his own blood for a blood sacrifice to activate. Just like Director Yang back then, who had exhausted his blood to summon the 3-headed serpent blood soul, leaving him looking like a dried-up corpse. Such a self-harming treasure held no appeal for Li Wei, no matter how powerful it was. Li Wei chuckled. Didn't you say I was transparent to the hidden sect? He wasn't afraid of revealing some spiritual artifacts. After all, he had the imperial sword tucked away. If necessary, he could blame everything on Master Confrontation Guan. Yin Shici knew that Li Wei had already caught the eye of the Yin Jun and the elders, and she couldn't possibly harm him. Still, she first put the 3-headed serpent bracelet on her wrist before tasting the noodle soup. It was indeed more delicious than the medicinal cuisine. I won't short you on the Yongquan coins. As for the radiant flame pills, how many do you need? I might be able to get some for you. She spoke earnestly. Li Wei's expression turned serious, and he reminded her, this artifact must be activated through a blood sacrifice using your own blood. I've seen someone die horribly from blood depletion after activating it. Yin Shici was clearly aware of the dangers of blood sacrifice spiritual artifacts. That just means his cultivation was too low, and his blood chi wasn't strong enough. You should know that with blood-refined artifacts like this, the higher your cultivation, the less blood you expend. Besides, I'm not planning to use it as a constant battle treasure. I'll only use it in life or death situations. It could be my second life. Seeing her determination, and realizing he only needed radiant flame pills for the time being, Li Wei asked, how many radiant flame pills can you get? 3 to 5 should be no problem, Yin Shici said. Li Wei immediately looked at her with new eyes, are you the illegitimate daughter of a priest from the Zhu Divine Temple? In Li Province, when it came to powerful spiritual mind masters capable of refining pills, the 9 priests of the Zhu Divine Temple were absolutely indispensable. Those 9 individuals had undoubtedly reached extraordinary heights in their spiritual cultivation. Radiant flame pills were incredibly precious, each worth tens of millions of copper coins. Even someone like Li Ling, despite her status, likely hadn't consumed one since childhood. Eating a single pill was equivalent to owning a mansion in Zhuli City. Yin Shici replied calmly, don't underestimate me. I'm a 16-year-old in the 9 Springs 5 Seas realm, one of the top cultivators in all of Li Province. You must be at least 20, right? Eat your noodles. After a long silence, Li Wei looked up again and said, let's return to the hidden sect and have an elder assess the 3-headed serpent blood soul's true strength. I suspect it's far beyond the 3rd level of the 5 Seas realm. And we need to settle the payment properly. The two left the city and entered the southern district of the suburban domain. Li Wei first returned to the mansion where he had been staying before, taking a quick look around before heading to the Changlin gang headquarters with Yin Shici. The Changlin gang headquarters was a massive estate covering over 100 acres. Its walls towered over 20 feet high, enclosing a dense cluster of buildings, artificial rockeries, ponds, and dozens of ancient trees with lush, sprawling branches. Such extravagant opulence would befit only the most elite great clans within the city domain. The two of them checked into a room at an inn not far from the Changlin gang headquarters and quickly changed into low-grade spiritual artifact night-traveling cloaks. Li Wei channeled his spiritual chi into the cloak, causing his body to gradually fade from view. The cloak's low grade prevented complete invisibility. In the darkness, with sufficient speed, it could offer some concealment. However, attempting to assassinate a martial mystic powerhouse with such a cloak would be a fool's dream. Yin Shici stood by the window, her sharp eyes never blinking as she observed the comings and goings around the Changlin gang headquarters. This main altar estate is far larger than any ordinary suburban domain gang headquarters should be. Even the 8 aberrant humanoid martial mystic cultivators guarding the gate likely possess 5 springs or 6 springs cultivation levels. Li Wei joined her at the window, his figure tall and upright, his features sharp and handsome. The woman in the night-traveling cloak beside him was a head shorter. After careful observation, Li Wei sensed an unusual depth within the vast mansion before him. For a gang's main altar, isn't it a bit too quiet? Li Wei asked. It's a Dharma law formation. Yin Shi exclaimed, this main altar is shrouded by 100 inscriptions law formation. What we're seeing isn't the true inner landscape. Yin Shi had sensed something and her gaze shifted to the end of the wide street below. A blue-clad caravan was slowly approaching. Her small hand swiftly grabbed Li Wei's arm, pulling him back 2 steps from the window. What's wrong? Li Wei asked. Yin Shi's expression was grave. There's a powerful 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator in that caravan. He was just scanning the surroundings, his gaze was incredibly sharp. When he was observing, his aura as a powerhouse leaked out involuntarily. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sensed him in advance. Li Wei had always considered his perception exceptionally sharp, but compared to a 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator, there seemed to be a gap. He asked, your perception is so remarkable. Have you already cultivated battle intent? Is that so strange? I'm a genius too, you know. Excluding the hidden sect, only 6-9 Spring Supremes have emerged from the entire Zhu Li clan in the last decade, Yin Shi said, lifting her chin with a proud air. The blue-clad caravan below consisted of 8 horse-drawn carriages, each carrying 4 massive wooden crates. They had come to a halt before the 3 zhong-wide bronze gates of the Changlin gang headquarters. The 30 or 40 martial mystic cultivators escorting the cargo had tried to dress inconspicuously, disguising themselves as ordinary mortals. However, Li Wei and Yin Shi could see that they were powerful cultivators, many at the Seven Springs realm. Yet, despite being men, they exuded a strange effeminate aura. Tang Yan, the vice-gang leader of the Changlin gang, personally came out to greet them. Tang Yan was cautious. After carefully surveying his surroundings, he bowed obsequiously to the 5 Seas powerhouse leading the caravan. Lord Min, you must be exhausted from your long journey. Please, come inside. The gang has prepared fine wines and delicacies to welcome you and wash away the dust of the road. Lord Min, the leader of the caravan, was a man of immense cultivation but remained remarkably low-key. He rode a sturdy horse and appeared to be in his early 30s, with a pale, clean-shaven face and a high-pitched, effeminate voice, whereas Yang Qingxi. Did the Sui sect really entrust such an important matter to you? Tang Yan could sense the arrogance and aura of a powerful cultivator emanating from the other man. He dared not show any displeasure. Zhu Li City is still primarily under the control of the Zhu Li clan. With so many eyes and ears there, we'd be easily detected. But here, it's different. The entire district is controlled by the Changlin gang, with our spies everywhere. No one will ever know about this. Moreover, the young mistress takes this matter very seriously and will return to Zhu Li City later today. Very well. I'll leave the items with you for now. I have something else to attend to and need to enter the city. I'll return here tonight to meet with Yang Qingxi. Lord Min, accompanied by his 4 personal attendants, rode toward the city gates. Tang Yan watched the 5 figures recede into the distance, a sneer flashing across his eyes. He inwardly scoffed, another eunuch showing off his power. What's the point of such power? Heh heh. Move everything into the main altar and guard it carefully. Don't let anything go missing. Tang Yan, his hands clasped behind his back, strode through the main altar gates ahead of the others. In the distant inn, Li Wei gazed at the Changlin gang headquarters main gate. Why are there so many eunuchs? They must have come from outside. It's all the lingering poison left by Shoutian edict, Yin Shi said. Li Wei had heard the term, Shoutian edict, more than once. Rumor had it that the chaos in the Lingxiao realm was directly caused by the Lingxiao palace's decree. Curiosity piqued, he asked, what exactly did the Shoutian edict say? It's exactly what it sounds like, Yin Shi replied, too lazy to elaborate. After all, it was old news from over a decade ago. She continued, for Yang Qingxi to personally rush back from Burial Immortal Town, this shipment must be extraordinary. Then let's take down the Changlin gang before nightfall and present Yang Qingxi with a grand gift, Li Wei said. Swish. Swish. The 2 activated their spiritual power, unleashing the invisibility power of their night-traveling cloaks. They leapt from the inn window, concealing their auras as they charged toward the Changlin gang headquarters main gate, slipping in behind the last cart of the caravan. Tang Yan's ears twitched, sensing something amiss. He immediately turned to look back at the caravan. Whoosh. Li Wei moved with unparalleled decisiveness, leaping across the rooftops of carriages. Cloaked in night attire, his body resembled a semi-transparent shadow streaking through the darkness. When he reached a point 10 feet above Tang Yan, he spread his fingers wide, unleashing a torrent of spiritual power within him. Spiritual qi coalesced in front of his palm, forming a 3-foot square divine seal of light and shadow. He had to strike Tang Yan by surprise and eliminate him swiftly. Otherwise, once Changlin gang leader Shu Changlin and a horde of Spring Surge realm experts surrounded him, he wouldn't even be able to kill anyone. He'd likely have to rely on the Yin Shi's power just to escape. How humiliating that would be. Tang Yan had reached the Five Seas realm over 2 decades ago, his martial arts mastery reaching its peak. Reacting instantly to Li Weiyi's sudden palm strike, he countered with a punch. Spiritual chi blazed like stars on his fist, warping the air into a concave arch. Boom! Fist met palm with a thunderous crash. The entire courtyard was engulfed in a gale of spiritual chi. Even the eunuchs escorting the goods and the Changlin gang members in the front courtyard were forced to retreat repeatedly by the surging, colliding forces. A clash between Five Seas realm powerhouses shook the heavens and earth, causing the ground itself to tremble. Blank. End of chapter. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 2, Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 6188 Slaying the Five Seas Realm Cultivator. 61st of Volume 2. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Weiyi felt the opponent's fist strike like a metal warhammer weighing 10,000 jin, its force capable of piercing through city walls. The moment their fists collided, his entire arm was racked with pain, and his body was sent flying backward. At that moment, only one thought filled his mind: Yin'er Shi has tricked me. Even the first stage of the Five Seas realm possesses power far beyond that of a Yang Shenjing with 100 silver veins. This Tang Yan is beyond my current cultivation level. There's no way I can win. Tang Yan fared even worse. Boom, boom, boom. His feet shattered the stone tiles beneath him, his face instantly turning pale. The fingers that had been clenched into a fist now ached so intensely he couldn't maintain his grip. What kind of person have I provoked? There was no doubt about it, the opponent was definitely at the Five Seas realm. After entering the Changlin gang headquarters, Yin'er Shi leapt onto the roof of the 3-story main hall, stepping on the glazed tiles to gain the best vantage point. From there, she surveyed the entire compound, searching for the core of the formation. When she saw Li Weiyi's first clash with the Five Seas realm cultivator, surprisingly gaining the upper hand, she couldn't help but be secretly astonished. True, one was a sneak attack and the other was caught off guard. But this was a difference of an entire major realm. She knew that the Yin Jun's true test for Li Weiyi wasn't the Changlin gang at all. He had never expected Li Weiyi to actually destroy the gang. Though Tang Yan's strength surpassed Yang Shenjing's, Li Weiyi would undoubtedly lose if they clashed head-on. However, Li Weiyi still had spiritual artifacts at his disposal, such as the silver silk gauntlets he wore on both hands. When activated, these gauntlets could enhance his palm strikes by 20 to 30%. It was thanks to the silver silk gauntlets that he had managed to overpower Tang Yan with his previous palm strike. With a surge of spiritual power, the pain in his arm vanished instantly. Li Weiyi drew the yellow dragon sword hidden beneath his invisibility cloak and, employing the clear void cicada chasing step, charged toward Tang Yan for the kill. Tang Yan's arm hadn't recovered as quickly as Li Weiyi's. Seeing the sky filled with sword glimmers, and unsure of his opponent's true strength, he dared not meet the attack head-on and immediately retreated to dodge. Li Weiyi feared Tang Yan's unwavering fighting spirit and tenacious will. If fear and cowardice took root in his heart, even his Five Seas realm cultivation might only allow him to exert 70 or 80% of his true power. After dodging 6 or 7 consecutive strikes, Tang Yan realized the spiritual artifact battle sword felt strangely familiar. But Li Weiyi gave him no time to ponder. Each sword strike came faster than the last. Sizzle. A flash of yellow light sliced through the air, the sword tip tearing a long gash in Tang Yan's chest. However, he narrowly avoided being wounded. Impressive cultivation and speed. It seems my realm is still too low. Even this couldn't injure him, Li Weiyi thought, his gaze hardening. The pressure mounted, and he grew increasingly worried that Changlin would arrive at any moment. Tang Yan stared at the tear in his chest robe, his heart trembling with fear. He fled even more frantically. Just who are you? The Changlin gang has powerful backers. The Yang clan and the Sui sect are renowned throughout Li province. You'd better think twice before making an enemy of us. Vice gang leader, your memory must be failing you. It's only been 2 months since the Changlin gang seized my residence through despicable means, you haven't forgotten it, right? Li Weiyi had previously visited the residence he once called home, only to find it had changed hands and become a Changlin gang stronghold. Tang Yan had engaged in countless acts of extortion and theft, and for the life of him, he couldn't recall who this enemy was. His momentary distraction proved fatal. Li Weiyi's sword pierced below his collarbone, the tip sinking a full inch deep. Sword chi and spiritual power surged into his body, spreading agony throughout Tang Yan. After a blood-curdling scream, Tang Yan stumbled backward, bellowing, "They've already breached the main altar. What are you all standing around for? Attack together. You're pinning your hopes on a mob of Spring Surge Realm gang members to save you. With such a weak spirit, how could you ever be a match for me?" Li Weiyi no longer felt any fear or reverence for Five Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators. Seizing the opportunity, he unleashed the Heavenly Dao and Law Harmony level Tai opens the sea technique. His sword slashed through the air, leaving a 10-foot long streak of brilliant golden light in its wake. Tang Yan let out a long, desperate roar, summoning all the spiritual chi from his chi-si. He unleashed a flurry of punches, sending 2 waves of fist force light surging toward Li Wei. This was a fist technique at the heavenly Dao Law harmony level. Boom. The sword chi sliced through the fist energy shockwave, but residual force still slammed into Li Wei, sending his body flying backward uncontrollably. The spiritual chi intensity of a 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator was far beyond what a spring surge realm cultivator could withstand. This all-out clash shattered a small building above their heads. Beams and pillars collapsed, and tiles and bricks rained down. The sheer power of the impact sent martial mystic cultivators below the 7 Springs realm fleeing in terror, their souls nearly torn from their bodies. When 2 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators clashed, the residual energy alone could obliterate ordinary spring surge realm cultivators. They dared not get involved. Tang Yan recognized the sword technique from earlier. His eyes fixed on the semi-transparent figure, and he exclaimed in shock, "It's you. You've broken through to the 5 Seas realm." Li Wei had just landed on the ground. 7 Changlin gang members, each holding a heavy crossbow, fired a volley of silent flying needles. Clink, clink. Li Wei was no longer the same person he had been before. He wouldn't even bother to glance at such a trivial attack. With a wave of his sword, he unleashed a torrent of spiritual chi and sword shadows, forming a spherical shield around him. All the incoming crossbow bolts clattered to the ground. Whoosh. With a circular sweep of his arm, strands of spiritual chi surged from his sleeve, swirling the fallen bolts into the air before launching them back like a rain of arrows. Amidst screams, all 7 crossbow-wielding gang members fell to the ground, their bodies riddled with blood holes. Once Tang Yan recognized Li Wei, his fear vanished. Even if Li Wei had truly broken through to the 5 Seas realm, he was only at the beginning of his cultivation, while Tang Yan had been cultivating in the 5 Seas realm for over 2 decades. He retrieved a silver ruler spiritual artifact, infused it with spiritual power, and activated it. Instantly, dazzling silver light illuminated the entire front courtyard. With a wave of the ruler, a torrent of light surged towards Li Wei with the force of a landslide. Wherever it passed, the stone slabs on the ground shattered inch by inch. To think a spiritual artifact could wield such power when driven by the 5 Seas realm. Li Wei immediately produced the ghost banner, using his arm as a flagpole to wave it. He poured all of his 8th spring spiritual power into it. As the ghost banner fluttered, a vast amount of black nether mist erupted, transforming the front courtyard into a chilling ghost domain. A 10-foot-tall armored ghost shadow emerged from the banner, wielding a war spear and radiating a terrifying cold aura that reversed the summer heat into winter. Within a dozen yards, the ground was covered in frost. Each time Li Wei broke through a realm, the power unleashed by the ghost banner was different. This faint armored ghost shadow was being summoned for the first time, even surprising Li Wei himself. Tang Yan's torrent of light collided with the ghost shadow, vanishing without a ripple, like a stone sinking into the sea. Before he could recover from the ghost shadow's imposing aura, Li Wei's sword beam reached him. PFF'd. Tang Yan strained with all his power, but he couldn't dodge the blow. A sword pierced through his chest. Arg. If I die, you will die with me. Tang Yan let out a miserable howl, ignoring the searing pain in his chest as he swung his ruler towards Li Wei's head. The distance was too close. No one had expected Tang Yan to unleash such terrifying fighting spirit in his dying moments. Li Wei had no choice but to abandon his sword and roll to the left to evade the attack. Before he could regain his footing, a sharp, overbearing wave of power, accompanied by Changlin's roar, crashed down upon him. Boom. It was a pitch-black, somber spiritual artifact battle saber, cleaving a several-meter-long groove into the ground where Li Wei had just rolled. Even just brushing against the saber's aura was enough to tear several cracks through Li Wei's translucent night-traveling cloak. Changlin, the gang leader of the Changlin gang, was also at the first stage of the 5 Seas realm, but his combat strength was clearly superior to Tang Yan's. The battle saber in his hand was not only a spiritual artifact but also a supreme secret heavy weapon, weighing over 1,000 catties. A single blow from it would pulverize even the most resilient iron bones. Besides Changlin, more than a dozen 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators from the gang surged forward. Each one radiated spiritual chi, their spirits and vitality at their peak, clearly battle-hardened veterans. Tang Yan collapsed to the ground, blood gushing from his chest. He wheezed like a broken bellows. He's Li Wei. He pierced my lung and chi-si, crippling my 5 Seas realm cultivation. Kill him. Tear him into pieces. Li Wei surged forward, reaching the sword hilt before Changlin. He yanked the blade free and swung it in a deadly arc. Puff. Tang Yan's head separated from his neck, soaring toward Changlin. Caught off guard, Changlin instinctively caught it, cradling the severed head in his hands. Tang Yan's headless body, still seated on the ground, spewed a 3-foot-high fountain of blood from his neck. A 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator had been slain so easily. Changlin's fury blazed. Murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he casually tossed Tang Yan's head to the ground like a watermelon. Li Wei, the Shi gang has been searching for you for days. Since you've come to offer yourself up, Shu will gladly grant your wish. Surrounded on all sides, Li Wei remained unfazed. He sneered, why did the Changlin gang change its name? We just did. Shu Changlin has already passed the gang leader position to Shi. A wave of footsteps echoed as Shi Chuanyu, dressed in scholar's robes and appearing to be in his 40s, emerged from behind Li Wei with another group of men. Li Wei recognized him instantly, the 8th Spring Banner leader of the Changlin gang, who had participated in the Shui River pursuit. It seems gang leader Shi has broken through to the Five Seas realm. This gang truly is a place where strength reigns supreme. Just one breakthrough, and the gap between a subordinate and the gang leader widens so much that even the gang's name must change because of you, Li Wei said. All thanks to young mistress's cultivation, Shi Chuanyu replied, his feminine aura palpable. He was also a eunuch, a calculating smile playing on his face. Breaking through from the 8th Spring to the Five Seas realm, even if Shu Changlin and Tang Yan had cultivated in the Five Seas realm for 20 or 30 years, they still couldn't compare. What about you? You don't seem to have broken through to the Five Seas realm. It looks more like you're still in the 9th Spring realm. 2 months ago, when Li Wei cleaved through Shui Zheng, an 8th Spring pure immortal physique, with a single sword strike, causing a sensation in Yaoguan. Everyone hailed him as a 9th Spring supreme. Shi Chuanyu naturally didn't believe Li Wei had truly broken through from the 9th Spring to the Five Seas realm. If he had, why would killing a mere Tang Yan have been such a struggle? He suspected Li Wei had relied on an extraordinary spiritual artifact battle treasure. Historically, there were many examples of successor cultivated by the ancient myriad sects, at the level of 9 Springs Supreme, using powerful spiritual artifacts to defeat Five Seas realm cultivators. Without going too far back, Yang Shenjing, the number 1 cultivator in Li Province, had once severely wounded a Five Seas realm cultivator while still in the 9th Spring realm, nearly killing him. The Shui clan has offered a reward of 5,000 Yongquan coins for his head. If we work together to kill him, how about we split the reward 60/40ths? Shu Changlin proposed. Shi Chuanyu chuckled. You take all the rewards from the Yang clan and the Shui clan. I'll take the spiritual artifacts on him. Li Wei scanned his surroundings. Every escape route was blocked by 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators. 2 Five Seas realm experts had locked onto him with wisps of spiritual chi mist. The moment he moved, he would be caught in a deadly crossfire. Is it really that impressive for an 8th Spring to defeat a Five Seas? Yin or Shi Sis' clear voice echoed from the roof of the 3-story glazed tile building. She sat there in plain sight, wearing a black robe. Li Wei called up to her, the Changlin gang is gone. Has my mission ended? Or should I kill gang leader Shi and let Shu Changlin become the new gang leader? Facing 2 Five Seas realm experts alone, Li Wei would have to be insane to try and fight them head-on. Shi Chuanyu's attention was drawn to Yin or Shi Si on the roof. He laughed heartily. Of course it's impressive for an 8th Spring to defeat a Five Seas. As he spoke, Shi Chuanyu spat out a flying sword formed from condensed spiritual chi. The sword shone like a streak of light, both powerful and unexpectedly effective. Bang! Yin or Shi Si struck out with a palm, a cloud of spiritual chi coalescing in her palm and shattering the flying sword. She stood up, her slender and tall figure radiating a terrifying aura that seemed to rival the heavens. Her voice was icy cold. Just now, I went to the rear courtyard to investigate. I discovered many young girls and boys being held captive. From the conversations among the gang members, I learned that the girls are to be sent to the major brothels of Julie City, while the boys are to be offered up to a great demon, served as nothing more than snacks. So whether it's the Changlin gang or the Shi gang, they are utterly heinous. We need not show mercy. Today, we shall join forces and eradicate them. Realizing the black-clad girl was not to be trifled with, Shi Chuanyu immediately dispatched 2 7 Spring martial mystic cultivators, ordering them to rush with all speed to the Sui sect and the Yang clan for reinforcements. Since Lord Min had just delivered dozens of crates of vital goods to the Shi gang, any danger here would compel the 5 Sea realm experts of Sui and the Yang clan to hurry over at once. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 62-89 Slaying another 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator. 62nd of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei's form blurred like a gust of wind as he caught up to the 2 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators attempting to flee. With a flash of sword light, he severed them at the waist, blood splattering on the spot. Not only did the 2 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators have no chance to fight back, they hadn't even seen Li Wei's form clearly. Who would believe he had only opened his 8th spring? No one will leave this mansion today. Li Wei stood before the 3 jong wide bronze gate, his blood-stained sword in hand. His gaze was contemptuous as he surveyed the dozens of martial mystic experts in the courtyard, exuding the aura of a single man standing against 10,000. Two martial mystic experts from the Shi gang tried to scale the wall to escape and report back. Bang! Bang! Just as they leapt onto the two-jong tall wall, two bright, complex formation scriptures materialized in the air above them, striking them. With pained screams, they plummeted back down, covered in blood. Their deaths were gruesome. Impressive. They actually triggered our formation, Shi Chuanyu remarked, remaining remarkably calm. Yin'er Shi said, I merely added a talisman seal inside the formation tower. Now the formation covering the entire 100-acre mansion is completely out of control. Anyone who tries to break through will be attacked. All the gang members in the courtyard exchanged glances, their hearts immediately filled with dread. These two ruthless individuals were actually planning to kill them all. Shi Chuanyu subtly signaled Shu Changlin with his eyes, then shouted, the main gate is the formation's weak point. 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators can break through it. Whoever escapes the Shi gang mansion and reaches the Yang clan for help will be rewarded with a 5C's pill. Kill. Spiritual chi surged from every pore of Shu Changlin's skin, forming a cloud-like aura around him. His momentum was at its peak as he charged toward Li Wei, who was guarding the main gate, wielding a 1,000 Jin blade. A dozen 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators followed closely behind, each brandishing their weapons, their battle screams shaking the surroundings. Shi Chuanyu drew a mirror-shaped spiritual artifact to intercept Yin'er Shi, who was descending from the roof, buying Shu Changlin time. Knowing Li Wei was under immense pressure, Yin'er Shi ignored Shi Chuanyu entirely. Riding the wind, she drifted over his head, surprisingly arriving ahead of him. She gracefully landed on the open ground between Shu Changlin and Li Wei. 1,000 Jin blade swung down with a thunderous chop. A 10-jong long beam of spiritual chi erupted from the blade's surface. Yin'er Shi unleashed the heavenly wind palm technique, striking out with a single palm strike that seemed to make the entire world within 100 feet spin and tremble. She met the blade with her palm, and a hurricane howled in the clash. Boom! The 1,000 Jin blade, as if made of wood, flew from Shu Changlin's grasp, soaring over his head. Shu Changlin, a renowned 5C's realm expert with decades of experience, was sent flying backward like a broken kite, coughing up blood. The 1,000 Jin blade crashed to the ground, sending tremors through the earth. Yin'er Shi pressed her advantage, determined to finish him off swiftly. But Shu Changlin displayed his seasoned combat experience. With a nimble tap of his toes, he swiftly stabilized his stance. In a single breath, his chi roared like a hurricane, and he unleashed a ferocious punch. Shi Chuanyu arrived with his mirror in hand. Activating it with spiritual chi, the mirror shot forth a scorching beam of light as thick as a bowl. Yin'er Shi met the combined attacks head-on, facing two 5C's realm experts with a single strike. Bang! Shu Changlin coughed up blood again, his face ashen as death. He tumbled across the ground like a rolling gourd, collapsing in a heap. Shi Chuanyu fared slightly better. With the protection of his mirror-shaped spiritual artifact, though his spiritual chi was thrown into disarray and his chest ached with a dull throb, he managed to remain standing, unlike Shu Changlin's utterly defeated state. After Li Wei had slain 3 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators in quick succession, driving back the Shi gang's elite fighters, he watched Yin'er Shi unleash such a formidable palm technique with a mix of awe and a curious thought. The heavenly wind palm technique was the foundational martial art of the King Yao, one of the 9 kings. At her age of 16, she had already mastered this technique to heavenly Dao La Harmony realm, and it was even possible she had used it to comprehend battle intent. This meant she must have been training since childhood, not just after joining the hidden sect. Here's where it got interesting. Yaoyan's heavenly Dao La Harmony martial technique was also the heavenly wind palm technique. These two, likely from the Yao Li tribe and close in age, coupled with Yin'er Shi's unusually talkative behavior around Yaoyan, gave Li Wei reason to suspect they had known each other for a long time, perhaps even shared a close bond, but were feigning unfamiliarity due to their identities. After all, hidden ones must sever ties with their past. The thought flashed through Li Wei's mind, but he didn't have time to dwell on it. The situation in the courtyard had taken a new turn. The group of blue-robed eunuchs guarding the convoy's cargo had remained in the corner of the front courtyard, watching like bystanders without joining the fighting. Most of them wore calm expressions, some with disdain and mockery in their eyes. This Changlin gang is truly a rabble, a 7 Springs martial mystic cultivator in his 50s sneered, they can't even take down 2 kids who've just entered the 5C's realm. The strongest among them was a middle-aged man who had opened his 8th spring. He croaked in a duck-like voice, that girl is not a simple matter. It looks like she's broken through the 9 Springs Supreme's 5Cs, making her invincible at the same level. Invincible in one-on-one combat. What good is that? On the battlefield, who fights you one-on-one? A single charge would trample them all into bloody pulp, another blue-robed eunuch retorted. Let's move. We must eliminate these two. We can't afford any mishaps with the cargo we're escorting. The middle-aged man who had opened his 8th spring nodded. He retrieved a 2-meter-long white yin banner from the carriage and roared, "Warriors, heed my command. Draw blades, form formation." Whoosh. The 33 blue-robed eunuch spirits and energy instantly sharpened. They drew identical battle blades from their waists and formed a 3x11 battle formation. They held their blades aloft, their movements so precise they possessed a unique, almost breathtaking beauty. Every blade's tip aligned perfectly in a straight line. With a single turn of their wrists, all 33 blades rotated in unison. The 33 men seemed to become a single entity. Fueled by the spiritual chi within them, formation scriptures materialized on their blue robes. A deafening roar erupted from the battle formation formed by the 33 formation scriptures. A humanoid shadow wielding a phoenix beak blade appeared above the formation, towering 6 or 7 meters tall and radiating a terrifying aura. All the martial mystic cultivators in the courtyard felt as if they were standing on a battlefield with thousands of soldiers, too terrified to even breathe. Even Shi Chuanyu and Shu Changlin were stunned, glancing at the formation in the corner and feeling the pressure. Yin'er Shi retreated to Li Weiyi's side, her expression grave. "So you're from the military. It seems the contents of those crates are truly extraordinary." The 8th spring middle-aged man holding the white yin banner said, "Surrender now. Your cultivation is nothing before a battle formation." Yin'er Shi snorted. The 33 inscription soul battle formation, combined with the ghost general and the yin banner spiritual artifact, is indeed formidable. But it's not enough to make me surrender. The middle-aged man replied, "An ordinary 33 inscription soul battle formation consists of 3 7 springs martial mystic cultivators, 10 6th spring martial mystic cultivators, 10 5th spring martial mystic cultivators, and 10 4th spring martial mystic cultivators arranged in a ladder formation. But look at us, do you see a single 4th spring martial mystic cultivator among us? Since she's courting death, let's send her on her way first." A booming voice echoed from within the battle formation. The middle-aged man holding the yin banner waved it. Whoosh. A gust of yin wind erupted, accompanied by the roars of vengeful souls. The giant ghost general above the battle formation charged forward, its phoenix beak blade cleaving down with brutal force. Yin'er Shi's expression shifted slightly. Without hesitation, she formed a palm seal. Instantly, wind surged from all 8 directions, and the palm seal she unleashed transformed into a dazzling cloud of palm force. The phoenix beak blade sliced through the cloud of palm force like a hot knife through butter, crashing down directly toward her head. Li Weiyi sensed danger ahead and charged forward, colliding with Yin'er Shi. The two tumbled several dozen meters away. Boom. The phoenix beak blade slammed into the ground, creating a deep crater. The blade sank completely into the earth. The two fled at top speed, dodging the ghost general's pursuit. Li Weiyi asked, "What's going on? How can a group of surging spring realm martial mystic cultivators who don't seem particularly strong become so powerful when they form a battle formation? The entire Changlin gang combined probably couldn't defeat them." In Li Weiyi's eyes, the Changlin gang was several times stronger than the blue-robed eunuchs. The current situation completely overturned his understanding. The Changlin gang is just a rabble. How can they compare to an army? Yin'er Shi replied, "Martial mystic cultivators of the same realm in the Changlin gang only bully the weak, spending their days drinking, gambling, and whoring. But soldiers in an army train relentlessly every day, risking their lives in battle." She continued, "Soldiers in a battle formation train only one type of blade technique every day, striving for absolute uniformity in their movements, including their spirit, energy, and battle intent. Didn't you notice? When the ghost general swung his blade, all 33 blue-robed eunuchs swung their blades simultaneously. This absolutely synchronized battle formation is known as Heavenly Dao La Harmony Realm. It requires years, even decades, of rigorous training to achieve. With the aid of the 33 inscriptions formation scriptures, they move as one. This is merely a 33 inscription soul battle formation. If they were to face formations with thousands or even tens of thousands of inscriptions, their battle intent could manifest as cities, rivers, seas, fiery plains, mountain ranges, giants, dragons, phoenixes, starry skies. In short, such an army is invincible, impossible for any individual to withstand. Li Weiyi reflected, "If I had known, I shouldn't have underestimated them. I should have struck down a few before they could form their battle formation. I'll break the formation. Leave the rest to you." Yin'er Shi charged toward the formation of 33 blue-robed eunuchs. She slashed her wrist, using her own blood to activate the 3-headed serpent bracelet, preparing to test the power of the blood soul within this high-grade spiritual artifact. "Leave it all to me." Li Weiyi glanced at the bronze gate of the mansion in the distance, where several 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators were already attempting to break the formation. With no other choice, he tapped his insect tube, revealing his true trump card. Woo woo. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors all flapped their wings in unison, transforming into 7 dazzling, multicolored halos. With lightning-fast speed, they annihilated the 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators who were attempting to break through the gate and escape. Corpses lay scattered across the ground in a chaotic heap. Over the past 20 days, after consuming the 500-year-old Sistanch, the phoenix-winged moth emperors had grown even larger. Li Wei had repeatedly measured their body lengths, and they were still just shy of 2 inches. They're fierce insects, he's actually a formidable insect tamer. Xuanhuan recognized the extraordinary combat prowess of the phoenix-winged moth emperors. Their wings moved with the speed of spiritual artifact battle swords, effortlessly slaughtering the 7 Springs martial mystic cultivators as easily as eating or drinking. Their speed was terrifying, rivaling that of 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators. Legendary insect tamers were said to be capable of single-handedly holding off an entire army or defending an entire city. How could Xuanhuan not be astonished? Clang. He raised his mirror-shaped spiritual artifact and attacked Li Wei. The best way to deal with a swarm of fierce insects was to kill their insect tamer. Swish. Swish. 5 phoenix-winged moth emperors swooped in from 5 different directions, tracing winding arcs as they converged to attack Xuanhuan. The remaining 2 phoenix-winged moth emperors stayed at the gate, mowing down any Changlin gang members who tried to charge past. Xuanhuan was undeniably strong. Wielding his mirror-shaped spiritual artifact, he sent the first phoenix-winged moth emperor flying, slamming it heavily into a pillar of a distant building. The pillar snapped under the impact. But the phoenix-winged moth emperor seemed unfazed, instantly flapping its wings and soaring back into the air. Its body was like cast iron, its defenses so formidable that even ordinary spiritual artifacts couldn't harm it. Swoosh. One of the phoenix-winged moth emperor's membranous wings sliced across Xuanhuan's arm, instantly opening a deep, inch-long gash. Then came a second gash, a third. Surrounded by 5 phoenix-winged moth emperors, Xuanhuan couldn't defend himself. He grew increasingly flustered, his body covered in wounds. The more he fought, the more horrified he became, realizing the terrifying power of Li Wei, the insect tamer. The thought of fleeing immediately flashed through his mind. Meanwhile, Li Wei and Changlin had exchanged more than a dozen blows. Changlin, already weakened by Yin Shi's earlier attack, gradually fell behind under Li Wei's relentless attacks. Boom. After their swords clashed with full force, both of them retreated. Li Wei seized the opportunity. He formed a hand seal, channeled the spiritual qi from his Fengfu acupoint, and unleashed his most powerful attack, a single-finger strike. Sihang Enlightenment. Changlin's war blade was too cumbersome to swing in time. He could only form a palm seal, unleashing a torrent of spiritual qi from his palm to meet Li Wei's finger. PFF'd. Changlin's palm was pierced through. A beam of finger force, like a ray of light, pierced through his hand and into his chest, leaving a transparent, wine-glass-sized hole in his chest. Changlin screamed and stumbled backward. He first looked at his shattered palm, then down at the hole in his chest. Despair filled his eyes as he collapsed straight to the ground. Li Wei, having clashed head-on with a 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator, was also severely injured. Changlin's palm force had sent him crashing through a wall. It took him a long time to struggle to his feet. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He walked over to Changlin's corpse, confirmed he was dead, and finally exhaled a long sigh of relief. Having fought 2 5 Seas realm cultivators in succession, the battle had been incredibly dangerous, perilous, costing him a significant price. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 2. Julie Insect Valley. Chapter 63 90 Dharma King, don't forget the reward you promised. 63rd of Volume 2. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Whoosh. Fueled by the blood sacrifice and the spiritual qi of a 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivator, the 3-headed serpent blood soul burst forth from the bracelet. When Director Yang performed the blood sacrifice, the released 3-headed serpent blood soul was merely a wisp, barely a bull's width and 6 or 7 meters long, extremely faint and ethereal. But under Yin Shi's urging, the blood soul that emerged from the bracelet grew to over 10 meters long, as thick as a water bucket, its body incredibly solid, its scales gleaming like cast metal. The entire courtyard was suffused with blood qi. The blood soul, with its 3 heads, clashed with the ghost general wielding the phoenix beak blade. In moments, it swallowed the ghost general whole. Boom. The 3-headed serpent blood soul surged forward, instantly shattering the 33 inscription soul battle formation. All 33 blue-robed eunuchs were flung into the air, with more than half dying instantly. Yin Shi channeled even more potent spiritual qi to activate the 3-headed serpent bracelet. Immediately, the blood from the corpses on the ground transformed into streams of blood qi, flowing ceaselessly into the bracelet on her wrist. The color of the blood jade bracelet deepened to a crimson hue. Li Wei stared in astonishment. After Yin or Shi retrieved the three-headed serpent blood soul into her bracelet, she noticed Li Wei's gaze. She quickly explained, as expected, it's just a blood soul comparable to the third realm of the 5 seas. But it's more than enough to deal with a 33 inscription soul battle formation formed by a group of Spring Surge Realm martial mystic cultivators. The more she explained, the less Li Wei believed her. Why don't you just return the bracelet to me? This blood sacrifice really consumes blood qi and is incredibly damaging to the body. I don't know how long it will take to recover. Yin or Shi feigned weakness, her face turning pale. Li Wei said, I'm not completely ignorant about blood sacrifice spiritual artifacts. The stronger the enemy and the longer the battle, the greater the blood qi consumption. You only had one exchange just now and broke the battle formation. How could it have drained you this much? Caught in her lie, Yin or Shi's small face flushed with embarrassment. She hid the bracelet deeper into her sleeve. Don't worry, leave the radiant flame pill to me. I'll definitely gather the money. Those 7 insects of yours. They're not simple at all. 5 of them working together can overwhelm even a 5 seas realm martial mystic cultivator. She was utterly astonished. She had seen the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors stealing medicinal herbs from the medicinal cuisine hall several times. Before this, how could Yin or Shi have imagined that Li Wei, with his meager psychic telekinesis power, possessed 7 fierce insects of such formidable combat prowess? Xuanhuan, seeing Li Wei and Yin or Shi both staring at him, felt his heart sink into despair. Boom! Yin or Shi, riding the wind, flashed forward and struck him squarely in the chest with a palm strike. Xuanhu's body flew through the air, crashing through a pavilion and disappearing into the rubble. PFF'd. Li Wei descended from the sky, his sword piercing Xuanhu's heart and pinning him to the ground. You have no idea. What kind of storm? You've gotten yourselves caught in. You won't come to a good end. Blood gushed from Xuanhu's mouth, a sinister smile twisting his lips as if he could already see the fates of Li Wei and Yin or Shi. Li Wei's expression turned grave. He then began looting the corpses. The Changlin gang was incredibly wealthy, casually possessing 100,000 silver coins, a sum no other gang could match. After thoroughly searching the 3 gang leaders, Li Wei seized a 7 Springs martial mystic cultivator and rushed to the backyard to find the gang's treasury. He knew time was of the essence and that they couldn't linger here. Therefore, he only made a cursory sweep, avoiding a deeper search. When Li Wei reached the backyard dungeon, he found it packed with young girls and children, all shackled. Fury surged through him, and he swiftly beheaded the 7 Springs martial mystic cultivator who had led him there. Gazing into the dungeon at their pitiful, pleading eyes, Li Wei was momentarily paralyzed. Even if he opened the cells and freed them, they wouldn't survive on their own. They would either starve or fall into the hands of evil men. The suffering of humanity was a burden no single person could bear alone. He returned to the surface and hurried to the front courtyard. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors had already eliminated all survivors, ensuring the secret wouldn't be exposed. Yin or Shi had already opened all 32 giant crates from the 8 carriages. Purple lightning crackled from within, and dense, worm-like electric patterns had already formed on the ground. As Li Wei approached, electric patterns shot toward him. A tingling, painful sensation shot through his skin. He immediately retreated 2 steps, creating distance. Inside the crates, he saw blocks of what looked like purple ice crystals. The crystals glowed brilliantly, with countless blinding flashes of lightning interwoven within. Li Wei could clearly sense the terrifying destructive energy contained within these objects. Yin or Shi retreated even further than Li Wei, thunder law profound ice. How could this be? What is the Sui sect planning? This thing feels incredibly dangerous. What is it used for? Li Wei had only been in this world for a few months and still had so much to learn. Yin or Shi replied, breaking formations and attacking cities. Thunder law profound ice is harvested from the 800-mile Thunder Sea and is known as the bane of formations. Even a single piece of it, if released, could obliterate everything within this 100-acre estate. Stay away. I've broken the sealing runes on the boxes, making them extremely unstable. Even a slight shake could trigger them. Li Wei immediately retreated several more steps and asked, have you interrogated those blue-robed eunuchs? There's no need. They're undoubtedly from Dragon Sect. Yin or Shi continued, Thunder Law Profound Ice is the Thundercloud sect's most treasured artifact. It seems the top powers in the Eastern Territory think the Southern Territory isn't chaotic enough. They want to add fuel to the fire, hoping we'll destroy ourselves through infighting. The Sui sect is ambitious, so this is a perfect match. The Dragon Sect and the Thundercloud sect were 2 of the Eastern Territory's ancient myriad sects. Li Wei finally understood Xuanhu's last words. Getting caught in the power struggles of such major powers was indeed extremely dangerous. Yin or Shi said, release all the girls and children. Then activate the Thunder Law Profound Ice to erase all traces of our presence here. Li Wei's gaze drifted 3 miles away to a watchtower belonging to the city defense camp. The tower stood dozens of meters tall, and he clearly saw a gaunt figure, as thin as a monkey, fly directly from the ground to its summit with ghost-like speed. The gaunt figure stood atop the tower, scanning the surroundings, searching for something. When Li Wei saw the figure's face, his expression changed drastically. At the same moment, the Six Desires talisman on his chest began to glow, radiating intense heat. We have to leave now. Li Wei urged. Yin Shici followed his gaze and saw the gaunt figure descend from the watchtower and fly toward them. It's Shi Luyu. It must be the Six Desires talisman. He can sense my approximate location through his connection to the talisman. He'll be here soon. Li Wei's face was ashen. He quickly considered his options, then shoved Yin Shici forward. Hurry, leave. I'll handle this. Yin Shici knew exactly who Shi Luyu was. The lecherous villain was notorious throughout the southern territory, yet his cultivation was terrifyingly high. He was the first commander of the Earthwolf King's army. We leave together or not at all. She grabbed Li Wei's arm. Don't be foolish, Li Wei said, I can't escape. Besides, fleeing back to the Coffin Sea Pavilion now would expose too much. I'll hold him off while you fetch reinforcements. Don't just stand there, once he arrives, you'll be my weakness. Li Wei pushed her all the way to the gate. All right, wait for me. Yin Shici hesitated no longer. She broke through the formation and burst out of the gate. Only then did the 8 aberrant humanoid martial mystic cultivators guarding the gate realize what had happened inside. Li Wei raised his sword and, with a series of lightning-fast movements, swiftly killed them all. He sheathed his sword. Then he pushed the 2 bronze doors fully open. Li Wei stored all his spiritual artifacts, including the phoenix-winged moth emperor and the corpses of the 3 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators, into his blood mud space. Next, he calmly walked to the backyard dungeon, cleaved the iron lock from the cell door, and freed the hundreds of girls and children imprisoned inside. Shi Luyu, wearing a loose gray robe that made him look like a monkey in human clothes, arrived at the mansion gates. Seeing the 8 corpses sprawled on the stone steps, he knew he had finally found the right place. He could indeed sense the Six Desires talisman, but the sensation was subtle, only allowing him to determine a general direction. If the distance was too great or the obstruction too thick, the connection would vanish. Before he even entered the gate, raggedly dressed girls and children began fleeing the mansion. Shi Luyu's eyes lit up. He grabbed a plump girl, roughly fondling her before releasing her with a satisfied grin, after she let out a shriek of terror and tears. Entering the courtyard, he found Li Wei sitting under the eaves, longsword in hand, methodically severing the shackles from the ankles of a group of girls and children. With each shackle broken, someone would quickly flee the mansion. The Dharma King is the most powerful cultivator of this 60-year cycle. Why must you bully these unfortunate souls? Li Wei didn't even bother to look up at him. Shi Luyu wasn't in a hurry to attack. Stepping through the blood-soaked mud, he surveyed the courtyard filled with corpses. You've got quite the killing streak, kid. Not a single member of the gang survived. Killing dozens to save over 100. I'd say I made a profit. Li Wei retorted. Shi Luyu waited until Li Wei had severed the shackles of all the captives and released them before approaching him. You've played the good guy long enough. Now it's time to play the bad guy. Tell me, where are the people from the Julie hidden sect? Li Wei replied, I don't know. You're still too young to play tricks on this Dharma King. Shi Luyu's gaze instantly turned cold, and a wave of icy energy erupted from him, encasing Li Wei in a layer of frost. Li Wei's entire body became rigid, his skin numb, as if he were about to freeze to death. He stammered, I truly don't know. If the Julie hidden sect were so easily exposed, how could the Sui sect have spent 1,000 years without finding a trace of them? Would a figure like the Julie clan chief not know their true strength? Shi Luyu's eyes narrowed in suspicion. After a moment of thought, he asked, where is the Julie hidden sect? What is their strength? And how did you end up here? Once his body regained freedom, Li Wei immediately channeled his spiritual chi to melt the frost on his skin. He replied calmly, the Julie hidden sect investigated me and learned about my feud with the Changlin gang. That's why they arranged this trial. Fortunately, I'm on good terms with the Kandli tribe, so they didn't suspect my identity. Shi Luyu had been observing Li Wei's eyes and expression throughout their exchange, and he was deeply impressed by the young man's courage and composure. For other martial mystic cultivators, even many at the 5 Seas realm, being stared down by Shi Luyu would have sent them immediately to their knees, stammering in fear. Shi Luyu was unaware of Li Wei's feud with the Changlin gang. The Changlin gang was too insignificant to even catch his attention. He asked, what does this trial entail? This year, the Julie tribes have selected a total of 26 genius youths to send to the Julie hidden sect. Only 5 will survive and become disciples of the sect. The trial is the method of selection and elimination, Li Wei explained. So cruel, Shi Luyu murmured, making a mental note of this information. He might be able to infer the hidden sect's strength from it. Blood gushed from Li Wei's mouth as he coughed several times. Of course it's cruel. I almost died in this trial. The Changlin gang is filled with experts, and there's also a group of eunuchs. Dharma King, what is that thing? It looks dangerous. He pointed at the 8 carriages. Shi Luyu had already examined them earlier, and he now snapped, did you damage the talismanic patterns on the boxes? What's wrong with that? Li Wei feigned ignorance. Shi Luyu ground his teeth. Never mind. Stay out of this. Just answer this Dharma King's questions. Shi Luyu had long heard that the Thundercloud sect would provide several batches of Thunder Law Profound Ice to the Sui sect to help them break the formations of the Zhu Li Dao Academy, the prefectural governor's office, and the great clans. But he hadn't expected the Sui sect to be so unreliable. A single Spring Surge Realm cultivator had nearly destroyed the Thunder Law Profound Ice. Didn't they even send a 5 Seas Realm cultivator to guard it? Li Wei said, when I go to the Zhu Li hidden sect, I'll wear a black cloth bag over my head to block my senses. It'll be the same when I leave. When I remove the bag, I'll already be outside the Changlin gang headquarters. That's what I expected. Shi Luyu nodded and asked, how long will it take to travel from the Zhu Li hidden sect to here? It's hard to say. My perception will be distorted while wearing the black cloth bag. I estimate it'll take 5 to 7 days. Maybe, roughly speaking. Li Wei replied. Shi Luyu didn't fully trust Li Wei. While gathering information, he was also assessing its veracity. He pressed on, where exactly is the Zhu Li hidden sect located? I don't know. Seeing Shi Luyu's stern expression and the light in his brow, Li Wei quickly added, I have a death spirit fire planted in my skull. Don't use psychic telekinesis power on me. Otherwise, I'll die instantly, and you'll get no information. It's a lose-lose situation. Haha, don't be scared. I was just teasing you. Shi Luyu bared a row of snow-white teeth, then immediately sneered, don't you dare lie to me. If a single word you say differs from what Li Qing told me, I'll throw you into the wolf pit, where you'll beg for death but never find it. Li Wei feigned terror, struggling to recall and think. Suddenly, something clicked. The Zhu Li hidden sect might be in the Netherworld Realm of the dead, on the other side of the Mengshan mountain range. It's perpetually shrouded in darkness there, with heavy yin energy and frequent appearances of dead spirits. Shi Luyu pondered for a moment, his eyes suddenly lighting up. 1,000 years ago, the Zhu Li clan occupied the 9 provinces, and 8 of them were swallowed by the Nether Realm of the dead. If the Zhu Li hidden sect truly exists and has managed to evade the Sui sect's surveillance, it's entirely possible they're located somewhere within those 8 provinces. Haha, so that's it. Tell me everything else you know, quickly. Suddenly, a blinding blur of motion shot through the doorway and landed in the center of the courtyard. As the figure settled, it gradually became clear. It was a martial mystic cultivator in his early 20s with a pure immortal physique, clad in the true transmission disciple robes of the Sui sect. His spiritual chi was bright and potent, clearly marking him as a master of the 5 Seas realm. Wang Daojun, one of the top 3 talents of the Wang clan within the Sui sect, surveyed the corpses strewn across the ground. His gaze then swept sharply over Shi Luyu and Li Wei, and he said coldly, Junior sister, something's happened. Li Wei had already heard the sound of carriages, the clatter of strange beast hooves, and the rush of footsteps outside the door. He knew Yang Qingxi had returned. He leaned close to Shi Luyu's ear and whispered, Dharma King, it hasn't even been 2 months. Don't forget the reward you promised. Swish. Swish. One after another, afterimages erupted into blinding speed, appearing to teleport into the mansion. Among them were renowned young heavenly prides and venerable elders from the older generation. Each radiated immense power, wielding spiritual artifacts, and they swiftly surrounded the 2 men. Boom. Rumble. Rumble. A silver-horned deer beast, as massive as an elephant, pulled a grand carriage the size of a house and drove straight through the gates of the estate. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel.